All right. All right, Monday night. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Bring It. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Hope everyone's doing all right. We got the usual crew back in the house. We got Andrew. What's up, Andrew?
What's up, man? How are you guys?
I'm good. We got Ray. What's up, Ray?
What's up? Good. And get ready to bring it on.
All right. And we got Felix, the man who did he touch home plate or not last night?
He didn't.
Technically or physically?
He didn't touch nothing.
That is the question. I know we didn't put that on our list, but I want to talk about that play last night because they've been talking about it all day. All right. So as a Phillies fan, Felix, I mean, it looks like from the replay he didn't touch home plate. You know, I mean, it's a win, but he didn't touch home plate.
It depends which angle. He might have snipped it on the side somewhere, but I'll admit it was probably a bad call, but it happens. I mean, it happens all the time, even with the replay. So if they want to cry about it, go ahead. Acuna still went yard. Okay, they killed us the game before. Does that one game really put them in a worse situation?
Not really.
No, of course. But talking about Acuna, his first at bat, man, first hit, boom, right to first. They said he ran.
I told you, just walk him. Just walk him.
They said according to the stats, he ran 30 feet per second.
He's lightning fast.
It's insane. And then Ozzie gets up next pitch, boom, over the fence, 2-0. You know. And how dope are those old school uniforms they wore last night? Yeah, those are cool.
Those are the best.
Yeah,
those are very, very cool.
I love those Hank Aaron ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say this for anyone who did not know who Alec Baum was before last night, now everyone knows who he is. He's actually a top prospect. I mean, he's one of their up and comers.
I mean, he's our only third baseman. I believe the prospect before him was Franco, and he never panned out to do anything. Yeah,
he started out hot about 3 seasons ago. He started out pretty hot.
They were calling him the hottest 8th hole hitter in the game.
He was killing it for me in fantasy a couple of years ago. He was he caught some fire, and then he never did it again.
Listen, there's always going to be someone on a bad team who overly produces, and once they get to a good team, they disappear.
Yep.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is correct. Absolutely. All right, cool. All right, well, you know, it's amazing how like all this stuff happens over the weekend. There was a couple things that dropped today, but you know, nothing. I mean, nothing too. I mean, I would say Julian Edelman retiring because of injuries and stuff. It's kind of big. You know, he's definitely up there as far as slot receivers go. Is he Hall of Fame numbers? I don't know. We'll wait and see what happens.
He will be because of the rings.
I don't know. They're saying AJ Green has better numbers than he does, and I don't think AJ Green's a Hall of Famer. So,
he was the MVP of the Super Bowl.
Yes, he was
against the Rams.
Yes,
it's Terrell Owens, and I don't know if he's Ocho Cinco now or back to Chad Johnson. I don't know what he's at today, but they're not in the Hall of Fame. Neither will AJ Green.
No, Terrell's in.
Did Terrell? I don't.
Yeah, remember he did his whole ceremony in another spot. He didn't go to camp.
He didn't go to the ceremony.
He didn't go
Right.
to summer. Okay, I remember it was a whole thing. I didn't. So what was it? Now you gotta educate me. Was it the last year he was eligible that he got in?
No, he got in
No.
like a second or third
Yeah, there's
third
no
year
way
or
he
something.
I
like
think it
that.
was the
getting
third. I think it was his third try.
Third try. I know
Yeah.
there was some issues around that. That I know.
Yeah, no.
But if you ask me if I want Edelman, AJ Green, or Chad Johnson, give me Edelman all day.
yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
More
definitely.
dependable.
He was a possession wide receiver.
He was
He,
known as like Wayne Corbett.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, he has
well.
well, he was that slot receiver like Corbett was, but if Corbett had a better quarterback, he would have had better numbers.
To be honest with you, he does, but he also reminds me of Ed McCaffrey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit like McCaffrey. Edelman's numbers, as far as his playoff numbers, he has the second all-time catches behind Jerry Rice. It's Jerry Rice and Edelman as far as catches, which is it proves the longevity of the Patriots and how long they were in the playoffs. But for Edelman to get that many catches, that playoff stat might put him in the Hall. You never know.
Yeah, now that you think about it, that tells you he's playing games, he's in games. And
right,
and
in
a lot of
big
players can't
games,
say that.
yeah, in big
Oh,
games, that type of thing.
Now, listen, he has a 12-year career. It doesn't happen a lot these days.
12 years. Yeah, that's like what, 09, 08, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
09.
Something like that. Yeah, it's.
Seventh round pick. Oh my God.
Yeah,
So
I know.
you take about 12 years and the amount of rings. Granted, he got the rings because he was on the Patriots, but nevertheless, it's still the numbers don't lie. Yeah, don't lie.
Think about the receivers that went through there: Wes Welker,
Moss,
Randy Moss,
Right.
Edelman,
Yeah.
Branch.
yeah,
John
Deion
Branch.
Branch, Alligator Arms, yeah.
Alligator arms. No, he had a Troy Brown.
Troy Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, now
That's
we're going
another
to
one.
drill back.
And he had
Exactly.
Gronkowski. You could throw Gronkowski in there.
Yeah,
Gronk.
exactly. It's amazing when you play that many playoff games and play that many meaningful games, what kind of numbers you can put up. And so it'll be an interesting discussion to see. I'm sure they'll talk about it this week with Edelman about,
Yeah, he won't be a first ballot though. He'll get in, but now that we're talking about his stats, I think he's going to get in. It's just
I think he'll get in probably about his third time up. I don't think he'll get in the first two. I think his third time up, he'll probably get in.
He has 36 career touchdowns.
It depends who else is on the ballot. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're not going to put a worse receiver than him on.
No.
Right.
So.
Well, hey, look how long it took Art Monk to get in, and Art Monk had amazing numbers. Remember the whole thing with him for years. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting. All right, we're getting off track. Let's get back on track here. All right, so one of the big things over the weekend was the Lakers at Brooklyn. The Lakers ended up victorious. They're saying one of the big reasons was that Kyrie and who was it? Yeah, and Schroeder got into the altercation. They both got thrown out. So basically, the Lakers had better backups to go against Durant and whoever else they had step up. So I'm going to start with Andrew. So, does this game really mean anything? Because the next time these teams meet, if they meet, will be in the finals. So does it mean anything, or was it
I
just?
don't think it means anything because the rosters were just incomplete on both sides all together. These are not if these are the teams that are going to be in the NBA Finals, they will be completely different rosters.
Oh, for sure.
Up and down. So it's meaningless. Yes. Looking at LA's roster that night, especially with the pickup of Andre Drummond, that was a tremendous signing that they were able to add to their roster. They had a better team. Durant was just coming back off the injury. He hasn't played in almost 2.5 months. Harden was out, and they just outmanned them. But it's meaningless. It doesn't matter at this point when Brooklyn is at full strength, which they will be. They're still the team to beat.
Does it show the depth of the Lakers bench, though?
You look at the roster now. Listen, Drummond can step in for Anthony Davis. If Davis is not back, you put Drummond at the starting spot. Drummond was still a top 10 center in the NBA
Right.
when Cleveland let him go. He was putting up constant 20 nights in Detroit. He just ended up on a bad team in a bad situation in Cleveland. But Drummond was the best center in the NBA for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So it was that's a tremendous signing. It really adds a lot of depth for the Lakers. It'll help them now that Aldridge is a net, gives them that one-on-one. I mean, Nets still have Griffin. I mean, Nets might have more depth, but the Lakers definitely have improved over the last couple of weeks with just deciding Drummond.
Yeah, I know. It was a couple weeks ago. We were when LeBron went down and the injuries were like, oh, they're going to fade to the 7th to 8th spot. I mean, right now they're still in 5th. So Felix, I ask you, with the Lakers going in and beating Brooklyn, what does that do for the Sixers psyche? As far as like, all right, they came in, beat Brooklyn, we're getting healthier, probably faster than Brooklyn is. What does that do for the Sixers?
So let's talk out loud real quick. Why do you think they signed Drummond?
For depth.
Aldridge.
No.
Davis?
No,
No. To hold Embiid if they can, because nobody can stop him. Maybe Joe. Maybe the joke. The joke could do it. But besides him, I don't see anybody doing it.
Yeah,
Why
but the
did
Sixers are not as
LaMarcus
deep.
sign with the Nets? Because they need someone besides who's that bum they had that they overpaid? What's his name? Mr. Rebound. I'm not scoring any points.
DeAndre Jordan.
Andre Jordan.
DeAndre
He's not
Jordan,
even playing anymore. He might get bought out.
That would be funny.
That's my point made. So, again, they just got him to hold Embiid because they know that to get to the finals, they have to get through the Sixers. I mean, and I know we're getting off topic, but to be honest with you, the game is it meant something for the Lakers, and because it keeps their psyche going. But the Nets and the Sixers are like one game out of first place. One game here, one game there. So home field advantage, home court advantage in the NBA is huge.
Have
the Sixers
have Harden? How many games have Harden, Durant, and Kyrie played together?
How many
years?
You mean how many games?
No, how many
years?
games?
No, games.
They probably like a month's worth of games.
I don't even know.
Together?
Together on the court.
2 games, maybe. One
So
game.
we haven't even seen them yet, really.
3 and 4, maybe.
Yeah.
But
They definitely
the
all
point
haven't
is
played.
Kyrie's taking off for personal reasons every other
Yeah.
game.
Yeah,
Who
he's
cares?
the head case.
And think about it like this. Me personally, I'd rather have Russell Westbrook. And they already proved that they can't win together
Yeah.
Right.
in OKC. So to me, it's a waste of time.
But you know what? When they couldn't win together, don't forget that it was, when they couldn't win, it was Harden, Westbrook, and Durant. They were just they were not at the same caliber that they are today. In fact, I think
Have you seen Harden?
He's in for
He gained like 40 pounds.
Look at his numbers though. Do his numbers today top the numbers from back in what was it?
Well,
08?
he was the man in Houston, and he's not. I think it's Durant's team. So
when he's healthy.
But you got to look at it this way though. You're looking at Harden. Harden's now more of a passer and a scorer now.
Yeah.
With New Jersey with the Brooklyn Nets than he was with Houston and with OKC.
Harden was the 6th man in Oklahoma.
Yeah. So you got to
compare.
So you got to think about now. He's going to take his game back a little bit, made him come in being a playmaker and a scorer when he needs to be. So, I mean, if he keeps this trend going, if he comes back off his injury, keeps this trend going, then, Brooklyn could be a powerful team to be hard to beat because what are you going to do? You're going to lay off a Harden because he put on about 3 or 4 more pounds? I don't think so. I think he's a better player now than he was.
The weight hasn't slowed him down.
No.
His assists are up.
So let me get this straight. He passes the ball, and let's say Kyrie misses. You're telling me he's going to pass again?
He's done it. He's done it all. He's done it since he came to New Jersey.
So if you can't, I will.
Well, he came to New Jersey and he's been doing it. He's been doing it good all up to his entry part.
Shots because they've been making the shots.
So,
but do you think he's going to pass the ball when the game's on the line?
Do you know what he's averaging right now?
What is he averaging?
It's got to be
25 and 11.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's about where he should be.
That's probably the most assists he's averaged in his year, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
so I mean, he's definitely gone from selfish to selfless. I'm not saying that he's still not going to shoot first if given, but I still think the ball's going to Durant if he's healthy.
That's my point.
Yeah.
It's Durant's team. That's my
It
point.
is Durant's
Yeah.
team, 100%. I don't disagree with you that at all.
No, and what's interesting is how they're bringing Durant back with the minute limits. I mean, I can understand that because they're pretty secure in their spot, but eventually they're going to just have to let Durant rip because if he's not in complete game shape come playoff time, you can't step into the playoffs not fully worked up to his minutes. So that's going to be interesting with how Steve Nash handles that.
Do you think Durant is on his way to being like Derrick Rose?
No.
No.
Did you see that game he had when he came back?
He's
It's
playing
like he didn't miss a
phenomenal.
beat.
He's
Like he
playing.
didn't
His
miss a
numbers
beat.
are insane. But do you think that this is like the beginning of one injury after another,
No.
and
To be honest with you, I think he's like, wait till playoff time and we're all going to get together. To be honest with you, that way no big injuries happen. To be honest with you, Brooklyn's not going to miss the playoffs.
they don't need to play him right now?
I mean, he's playing
Exactly.
He's playing 24 minutes. He's playing only 2 quarters worth of a game.
His
He's
numbers
not
are still
playing
phenomenal.
Yeah,
And then he still scored 24 points against
Right.
the Lakers.
exactly.
His,
And
but
2
his
quarters.
body's not holding up the same way Derrick Rose's didn't.
Yeah.
Well, Derrick Rose tore his
That's what-
ACL.
that's-
And then
it
he
was-
couldn't come back from that.
Right.
Durant already came back from that. So
Right. But then he got another injury, which kept him
but
out.
he's
So
also getting older. But
he's getting older. Right. So do you think that's that? So my coming back to my question was, do you think his father time is catching up to him quicker than
No.
anticipated?
no, because he came back and lit him up like he didn't miss a beat.
Okay.
It took Rose time to develop his game again because he didn't have the speed anymore.
Right. He had to redefine the
Right.
type of player.
Durant, he's a on point shooter. I mean, I'm the type of person where I look at drafts and then I see where they could have fallen. If Greg Oden wasn't in that draft and the Trailblazers got him,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
think about Lillard, McCollum, Durant.
Well, the draft may not have played out in the future for them to get Lillard and McCollum and Durant gone there, but
Well, McCollum was a second round pick or a late first round pick, so it's something where as though they just got him. And Lillard, they need a point guard. So I mean, why wouldn't they?
if
You know how
they
many-
had
I
Durant, they
believe
might
he
have
was
just
like a 21st pick in the draft, so it's not like they reached or 11th or something like that. It's not like they reached for him; he fell for it.
True.
Yep.
Right. No, and that's an interesting point, and we'll talk more about draft when we talk about the '96 draft in a bit, how guys have fallen, this and that. But yeah, it's an interesting way to look at it. I mean, Durant, I think if Durant wants to keep his legacy the way it is, he definitely has to stay healthy. But only playing 24 minutes a game, come playoff time, he's gonna have to play at least 40 minutes. I could see he's gonna have to play 40 minutes.
But
There's no doubt about it.
He's probably capable, but there's just no need. The Nets wouldn't put him back on the court right now if he wasn't capable. But there's just no need for him to be out there 40 minutes.
No.
Right.
I think they're
Right.
comfortable with where they're at playoff wise, whereas though they could give Kyrie off for personal reasons, give Harden off, give Durant off. To them, it's just, hey, let's just get to the playoffs. We'll knock them off.
No, true. Meanwhile, the Lakers are playing the Knicks tonight. The Knicks are up 38-33. Randall's got 13 points. He's the leading scorer. Schroeder's got 10 for the Lakers. So gonna watch that game as we go along because
It's all Julius Randle.
It's Julius Randle's
Such
world.
a
We're
beast. He's such a beast.
He better
I
get
remember
most. He
that
better get
draft,
most
man.
improved. He's not.
Oh
He
my
can't get MVP just because of the competition out there, but he better get most improved.
He has to. He's put on a
there's
show
no way.
this year.
Yeah, he has to.
Yeah,
I remember when he was. The Lakers took him, right?
The Lakers.
Because I remember
took
that was
him.
the Drew Holiday draft.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
he was on the
Drew
Hornets.
Holiday.
Not the Hornets. The Pelicans. He was on the Pelicans for a little bit.
Right.
He's been in the league 6 or 7 years. It's just finally came in very young, and he finally hit it.
Yeah, he's getting a chance to open up his game, which is good.
Also, Thibodeau. I think you got to give Thibodeau a lot of credit.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, I want to see. I really want to see the Knicks make the playoffs. So we'll talk more about the Knicks next week. But I want to see them make the playoff just for posterity reasons because the Knicks have been so bad. And even if they lose in the first round, it'd be nice to see the Knicks get in there. So who knows? Maybe they'll play maybe they'll end up playing Brooklyn in the first round. Get a little New York City thing to happen like old school. That'll be a lot of fun to watch.
Do you think if you get in the playoffs because of the play-in, it doesn't really count the same way?
I think it counts. That's you play the games that are in front of you. That's the system. It counts. You know, I don't think the playoffs a cheap thing. You know, I mean, they're doing it for television reasons too. If you think about it, you know, the people are gonna watch those games for money. You know, it's gonna get more markets in, that type of thing. So, who knows? Who knows?
Funny you say that. Can I bring up a topic real quick?
Sure, go ahead.
So the Braves game that we were talking about, the Braves and the Phillies game. Did you see what FanDuel did?
No, what did they do?
So anyone that bet the Braves money line that lost because of that call got their money back.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But only the money line bet. Only the money line bet.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Did they say how much money they had to give back?
I think. I mean, they normally do something where it's probably like $25 or something like that.
Yeah, so they probably.
But again,
credit
it's site credit, so it's
credit.
But
All right.
still, they're like, yeah, oh man.
Cool.
Because
they'll make more money back on that. Whoever got the money back is like, oh, I just got $25.
Something like a 6 or 7 game parlay, and that's your last one.
I know.
And they say, oh man, they screwed me.
Well, if you're betting 6 and 7 game parlays on baseball, you got bigger problems. But that's besides the point. That's besides the point. All right. Well, let's move on to some baseball. We'll talk about the San Diego no-hitter in a minute, but both you guys went to baseball games last week, Felix and Ray. And I want to hear, Ray, I want you to tell us about your experience. I know you drove all the way from Jacksonville up to Atlanta. Tell us about, getting into the game, the whole deal from gate to leaving the game. Like, tell us about the whole thing.
All right. My adventure started, like 7:30 in the morning, getting all my kids out and stuff. But I left Jacksonville at 12 p.m. noon to get to a 7:20 pitch game. Normally it takes you 5.5 hours from where I lived in Jacksonville to get to Atlanta, Georgia. It took me almost near. I got to the ballpark about around 7:05 because of traffic. They reroute me all the way past Tyler Perry's studios, all the way back into 285, back to 75 where I just got off of to get into the stadium. When I get there, you can't see the Braves Stadium because they got all the buildings in front of it, so you can't tell where the baseball stadium is. You got the Comcast building, you got another building in front. Only way you can tell is the baseball park behind it was you go around the other side of the Braves Stadium, and that's when you're looking to see the ballpark. So they didn't have markings for the parking, so it took me about another 20 minutes to find parking. Then they had to get the traffic, get into the parking, got up to the gate. I got to the, whenever all the festivities started kicking off about 7:15. I finally got into the stadium about 7:20. Got to the introduction of the lineups and then the the Star Spangled Banner and all that. And then the atmosphere was tremendous. The Tomahawk Chop started right away. Willer came onto the mount. Oh man! And then Harper took the field, and the whole place just started booing. I mean, it started booing. And the best thing about this was my pastor. He went to the game too, and they stuck him he was in the corner of the right field, right where Bryce Harper plays. He said he's a pastor now. He was in there with people swearing, drunk, and everybody, single person in that area right there was getting on Bryce Harper. Every time he took a step, he was getting on Bryce Harper. So I mean, everything was going, and the concession stand was out of the charts because they only had 2 concession stands on each level open.
Right.
So you had a line. So if you go to the concession stand, you miss about 2 or 3 innings.
Oh wow.
So I got up there quick enough, and I got my souvenir cup. I always want to get a souvenir cup from every stadium I've been to, every game. And so I got back to my seat just in time for Aguna to hit his first home run. And then everything just started going from there. The big innings, the Tomahawk Chop started. Then they put the pinch hitter in. The guy was pitching 2-2 count. Dude hanged a hanging curveball, and the dude crushed it. His first hit all season long, a home run. And then everybody was getting on Freeman, and then Freeman hit his in the 8th. So that started the tale of the 8-1 ball game. And Willer, man, he came in the ball game with no ERA, and he left with 3.38 ERA for the home runs.
Wow.
And that's I think Willard's the same pitcher that pitched that shutout. The only allowed Braves one hit that game. I think
Right.
that was the Willard's only game he pitched that so far. But the Braves got their little revenge. They won 2 out of 3, for the series. But the atmosphere going in, it was great. I sat in the handicap section because that's the only ticket they had left on StubHub. I bought it for $45.
Good deal. Front row seats.
Yeah, I was sitting right there. And so, and then I was sitting beside right when the guy comes to the 7th inning stretch. He's seen the God Bless America. And the dude, man, he was a former cop, I think Atlanta PD. Man, he had a good opera voice on him. And that was the best. I think that was the best God Bless America I have ever heard in a baseball stadium from a tender. Hey, he was all decked out. He was decked out in a tuxedo, sitting up there. He came up. He's very professional, and he sung, opera and that. But it was actually pretty good. And then we won the game. And after the game, they had the big fireworks, and that was awesome too. And then it was very easy to leave out of there because there was hardly no traffic. They only allow about 14,000 people in. I think they did 25% of the stadium capacity, and then they went up as the series went on. And Saturday they went up to 50%, and then Sunday I think was at 75%.
Wow. Did they when you went to the gate? Did they have to check your ID to make sure it matched the tickets, or take temperature or anything like that?
No, not for the Braves. I went up there. I was actually pretty surprised, but I went up there. You walk up to the stadium without your mask. It makes you put your mask on just before you hit in Atlanta. When you come across 75, you come across the bridge. When you get to the first set of bridge, get over there, and then the passway crosswalk, they have people sitting right there. You need to put your mask on, please. Put your mask on. So you're about 100 feet away from the stadium when you had to put your mask on. The requirement to put your mask on, but they didn't take no temperature. They did have a spray. Then when you walk through the gate, they sprayed on you. Something like what the Denver Broncos did with their players. So they had to kind of, anti-effect spray, but it was actually pretty good. And the series, the game, it was a phenomenal atmosphere. I had a Philly fan sitting beside me, and he's like, this is the first time he'd been to second time he'd been to the stadium because he lives in Atlanta. He says this is the first time he's seen this atmosphere like this. I say, yeah, it's partly because it was home opener for the Braves. And this is the first time they allowed the fans in. So, it was a good atmosphere through the whole thing. All the fans were nice. You pick on each other, but, wasn't hardly no fights or anything like that. But it was a good baseball game.
Cool.
Were the ushers monitoring masks?
Yes. They have a person for the Braves. They have a person in each section. And they sit at the very bottom of the section, and they hold a sign up that says, please put your mask on. If you don't see you with your mask, then they send a security guard over to tell you put your mask on and stuff like that. So, and the only time you can take your mask off if you're eating or drinking. So,
all right, cool.
He's talking about 14,000 fans. That's still about 10,000 more fans than that Marlins on the average.
Oh yeah,
when we go.
I know.
Yeah.
Without COVID.
And Andrew and I are planning to go to the Marlins game next month. After I get my second vaccination shot, and it's there've been social distancing for years. We've been saying, so it's not even going to be an issue. I can be like, yeah, sure, go sit wherever you want. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right,
so what you do?
Now, what about you, Felix? I know you got tickets last minute for the game last Tuesday. So what was the deal in Philly?
All right. So I got tickets last minute. Stumbled upon them from a coworker. He went, I believe, the day before, or 2 days before, and he's like, "You want to go here?" It's like, "All right," but getting the tickets, I already knew it was going to be a loss because I had never heard of Chase Anderson before. On the way to the stadium, got stopped at Campo's, got a Philly cheesesteak.
There you go.
And yeah, oh yeah, I missed it. Because there's only 2 locations that Campo's is located at. One is at the stadium. The other one's Old City, which is like 20 minutes from the stadium. Loved it. Good atmosphere. Great atmosphere. It was weird. There wasn't a temperature check or nothing. Probably because it's all outside. That's my guess. I've never the temperature checks that I've normally seen is there's something on the wall and you put your forehead there and it tells your temperature.
Right.
But yeah, no one really took your temperature. You just have to wear your mask. Great feel, great crowd. Felt good to get back out there. They were in it. I mean, the Phillies fought there. I was like, oh my God, they actually think they're going to win this game. Oh man. And then, Stroman threw at us. And then I'm like, oh my God, what are they doing? and but we started booing. We started doing our thing. It was a great time. Hopefully next time around, I'll get better pitching matchups, but it is what it is. I can't complain. It was a good game. The only thing that happened was, we lost. But again, I'd go to every game this year if I could. But, after last year, you have to make up for that time.
Exactly.
This is for both you guys. Did they security do anything, or the stadium do anything different for exiting the stadium to keep social distancing in place?
So for CBP, Citizens Bank Park, every section went out a specific way. You had to. It's not like you could walk around anymore. After a certain time, they blocked stuff off. And the section I was at, we could only exit through the third base exit. So, but every entrance and exit based off of sections. Yeah.
Yeah, and at the Atlanta Braves Park, if you sat in the infield and third baseline, first baseline, you had your own personal exit entrance in, and if you're in the outfield, they had their own personal in and out because of the club section. Because the Braves section, the right field and the left field, they all have a club section. They're a club section, and so you have a restaurant. You go in and out for that section. Now, for walking around, you can walk around the Braves Stadium from the right field, from the third baseline to the first baseline, but in the outfield you couldn't get to. They cut those off. So, and just like for concession stand, they said they had a thing every 6 feet apart. You had to stand on a circle. If you came off that circle, you lost your place in line. You had to stay on the circle, and that's the only thing. That's why I made this concession stand so long, because it was wrapped around. You had to stand on a personal circle, and the last circle is taken. You have to stand way back off to the side until that circle comes available, and then they'll hit. Then they had an usher that will take you up to that circle and say, "Okay, you need to follow the circles." So that's how they did. That's how they did the social distancing at the concession stand and for the Braves Stadium. It's like everybody had their own little personal entrance and exit.
My other question for both of you was, with all the empty seats, were the ushers sticking tight to your seat on your ticket, or since you had so many empty rows around you, can you kind of move around, or were they keeping you to where exactly where you were seated because of COVID?
No, for the Braves Stadium, you couldn't go no other section. They have ushers. They have ushers in every section, and they stayed put. And like you come in, like for me, they were questioning me because I had a wheelchair. I had a wheelchair seat, but they looked at me as like, you ain't disability. I said, well, I'm not physically. You can see my disability, but I am mentally disability because I have PTSD. And he's like, oh. I said, so that's why I got.
You shouldn't have even said that. He shouldn't have even asked you. Once you got the ticket, game's over at that point.
Well, for the Braves, wheelchair means wheelchair. Everybody in that section had a wheelchair. I mean, they allowed the people that were carrying the people with wheelchair in there, but if you didn't have a wheelchair, they were questioning it.
That's wrong.
Yeah.
Wow.
Where I was at, so there's a limited number of seats in each section. Every other seat was closed with a zip tie.
Oh, interesting.
So you can't even open it. And like each section probably had about maybe, I'd say 10 seats, social distancing, but you can't even put it down because the zip tie is holding it shut. So you couldn't even, you could stretch your legs obviously because no one's sitting in front of you, but that's about it.
Did either one of you see a player signing an autograph for a kid, or they're also keeping their distance?
No, the Braves players didn't have no autograph. they did have one little thing. Like this Philly kid who called a foul ball. Some guy took the ball away from him or something.
I saw that.
So the next game, they brought him back to the next game, and Freeman got an autograph from Bryce Harper and him on the baseball, gave to the guy. And I mean, I think that was a class act because whoever that fool was taking from a kid, you don't do that. That's something you don't do.
Maybe I've got another story that I'm thinking about. They tried giving the kid the ball and he missed it twice, and then he finally got it and he gave it to a Braves kid.
Yeah, that was
fan.
That was
a story.
That was a different one. This was a kid who was behind the dugout of the Phillies dugout. Acuna hit the foul ball. The kid caught it in his glove, and when the kid raised it up in his hand, some guy from behind grabbed the ball and took off running. Freeman saw it from the Braves dugout, from the outfield, and when he came in, him and Bryce Harper came in. And when Bryce was going out and Freeman was coming in, he told Harper, he said, "Hey, that guy took the ball away from the Philly fan. What we're going to do for next game is we'll give him a ticket. I'm going to buy the ticket for him, and then we're going to give him a baseball. I don't need you to sign a baseball. I'm going to hand it to him." And that's what they did. So, but the one you talking about, the guy did miss it like 2 or 3 times, and then what happened was one of the Philly, I think it was either the Philly or the Braves player,
the Philly fan,
gave him the baseball to him as they were going out the play. So
yeah.
Yo, you remember we went to the Marlins game a couple of years ago, and a foul ball came like right up to our section. It took a bounce, and then I went and I was able to get my hand on it, and then I felt another hand on it.
Yeah.
I didn't look, but I got the ball. I ended up with the ball, and then I look up and I'm like, it's a 7-year-old kid. I'm like, oh man.
You were that guy, huh?
No, I handed him the ball.
He gave him the ball. He gave him the ball.
I gave him the ball. I never caught a foul ball, but I handed him the ball, and the 10 adults in the Marlins Stadium in that section all applauded. It was a good feeling that I had, but I was like, man, the one time I got a foul ball, my hand's on it, a 7-year-old kid on it,
exactly.
And I look out, I'm like, oh, I can't keep this.
No.
Yeah. The one I had one in Loudoun Fulton County Stadium when Dale Murphy hit a home run. I caught the ball, but when it did, it hit the kid's glove in the front of me, and it came into me. I was only like 14 at the time, so I took the ball. Even though Dale Murphy was my favorite player, I took the ball and gave it to the guy because it came off his glove and into my glove. So,
that's cool.
So, I just think about like my son. If I was there at a game with my son and a player throws a ball to him, and some 50-year-old guy just sticks his hand out. It's just so messed up.
Yeah,
that's not right. That's not right.
It's the same ball you can buy at Dick's for $25.
Right,
yeah.
Exactly.
It's literally the same ball.
I have a quick foul ball story, and then we'll move on. My dad went to college in LA, so he went to see the Angels, back in the 60s, So he's reaching for a foul ball. He's about to catch it, and it misses, and it hits him right in his pocket where his car keys are and bounces away. He still has a scar from his car keys hitting his leg to this day, and he's like 78 years old.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
who hit it?
He doesn't remember. He doesn't remember who hit it, but it was like he missed the ball. Boom! Hit his keys, bounced away, and he's got this thing in his leg.
Listen, it hit the keys and not something else.
Exactly.
How much blood was there?
If that's the case, I probably wouldn't have been here. You never know.
How much blood was there for him to have a scar?
No, it just dug into his leg. That's all. It just it didn't bleed. It just dug into his leg. He's got this little mark in his leg. It's crazy. It's crazy stuff.
I have one other real funny story. It wasn't a foul ball. I was in 8th grade, so I was 13. I'll never forget the first time I ever got a ball. Matt Chapman on the Oakland Athletics. This was in Cleveland at Jacobs Field. I was with a friend, maybe like 8th row. We ran down to the dugout in between innings. Matt Chapman went into the dugout, grabbed 2 balls, threw my friend a ball, and I was like, "Oh man, I'm not getting one." And then he threw me a ball, and I was so excited. And I'll never forget. I yelled out, "We got balls!" And
wow!
I was like, "Oh god!" I just said that out loud.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Oh man.
I guess we lost what you call it.
Oh, he froze.
Oh, did we lose y'all?
Yeah, I think we lost him.
All right. Well, so we were going to do another topic similar. We'll just jump into this. We were going to do autographs, in-person autographs.
Okay.
So Felix, we'll just start with you. What was your first in-person, and what's one of your best memories of an in-person?
My first was Dutch Dalton.
Okay.
That's why he's one of my favorite players. He stopped. He took a picture with me. He did the autograph. He was like, "Listen, I'm going to be eating dinner over there later. You want to stop by?" I was like, "What?
That's
what?"
cool.
I was like, "Oh my God!" When you're younger and you think of a ball player who actually plays professionally, you think that they're so much above life and stuff. It's like, oh my God. And my favorite was probably Wild Thing, Mitch Williams.
Okay.
He's nuts, man. That guy he was like, first of all, he had to have a cigarette and chewing tobacco at all times. He was, he's a character, man. Everything you heard about him is probably true.
Did you ever ask an athlete for something other than their signature? Did you ever ask for something that they were wearing?
Because I get starstruck. Depends who it is. Like when I was younger, I met Ric Flair on a plane, and I was so starstruck. And I don't know what it is. It's like you see him on TV for so much, and then I don't know. I get starstruck. But
You ever get snubbed as a kid?
oh yeah.
That's the worst feeling.
You
get told no to a signature.
Not to a signature, but to a picture. Because when I was I'm a first generation in my family. I was born in Russia, and then my parents immigrated here from Russia when I was 2. So you have to understand, I learned everything on my own. So my dad really, being from Europe, he only knew soccer.
Right.
So I taught myself everything. I taught my dad half of the stuff. I taught my mom some stuff. And, they're old school. They don't care about all that. But so whenever I want to autograph or something, don't worry about it. You'll see him again, that type of stuff. So it's a different. When I was younger, it was a lot different. But I would never do that to my kids.
Sure.
Because I knew how I felt. So if we ever go see, first of all, they're Phillies fans and Eagles fans. They ask for anyone else, they're gonna get, they're not gonna get anything from anyone else.
So Ray, what was your first?
My first was Mike Jordan, Sam Perkins, and James Worthy at the University of North Carolina.
You got Jordan and Worthy?
Yep.
Wow. All right, now you just gotta tell the story.
Well, my dad took me to a basketball game in Carmichael Auditorium up in Chapel Hill, and it was actually Michael Jordan, Sam Perkins, James Worthy versus Duke Blue Devils. And those tickets are at the time in Carmichael and Cameron Indoor Stadiums are the hardest tickets to get in North Carolina. And my dad knew friends from the fire department, so they gave him tickets right behind the Carolina basketball bench in Carmichael Auditorium. And so I'm just sitting there minding my own business, and I had a Jordan jersey on. And Michael at the time, it didn't have Jordan on the back because, in college you couldn't buy with the names on it at the time. So my dad went and put had Mike Jordan on the back of it. And at the time, the radio broadcaster was keep calling him Michael Jordan this. And he realized what I had on the back of my jersey was his actual real name. And so he came up to me. He says after the game he'll bring up James Worthy and Sam Perkins with him, and he'll sign the autograph for me. And I began to talk to him and stuff like that. And actually, Michael took an interest in there and listen and talk to me for a little while. And I told him, growing up, and because in North Carolina, I'm a North Carolina kid, and growing up, Michael Jordan. At the time, the high school story. He got cut in his sophomore, junior year, and then stuff like that. But I took up to Michael Jordan before he became a real basketball player. He was playing baseball, and I was playing baseball at the time. I was playing catcher, starting out in T-ball, and he was playing. He played, and my dad knew about it and stuff like that. So we talked about more about baseball than we did about basketball at the time. So I mean, in the history of the Duke game, they blew Duke out. It was 84-66. He came over, he was all sweaty, and he's like, he signed the thing. He says, "Wait for me. Go to the back of the building, wait for me, and then I'll bring out Sam Perkins, James Worthy." So we were outside talking at the time, and that was, I mean, for a Carolina kid and a Tar Heel fan, that was a real blast for me.
You still have the jersey?
No.
What happened?
No, what happened was my dad put it in. We have my dad's old house where he grew up in. That's where we put all our stuff at. And he about 10 years ago, right after he died, somebody lit it up on fire. I lost. If you realize what's in that house, I had all my Star Wars action figures that was in boxes and stuff that was growing up. I had over $3.5 million worth of Star Wars stuff. The Jordan jersey I had was worth almost $250,000.
Oh,
and
wow.
Everything got blew up. Everything got blew up by an arson.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. Wow.
So.
Wow, that's crazy. Oh my goodness. Sorry about that. My computer crapped out on me. I apologize.
So tell your story.
My autograph story. Well, there's a couple, but the one real highlight for me, I had a buddy growing up named Alan Gross, and we used to go to games all the time. He was an autograph hound, loved getting autographs, and he had this trick he would use that he would bring a birthday card to a game, and he would like go up to people like, "Hey, it's my wife's birthday. Can you sign her birthday card, whatever, you know?" And he faked this birthday card. So the coolest one we ever got, we got Willis Reed's autograph. Wow. That was very cool. Wow. Yeah, we were at a Knick game, and Willis was there, and we went up to Willis, and he did all the talking. I was the wingman. You know, I was taller than him, so I was the muscle. Let's just say, you know. So funny. It's funny. You know, it's on so many levels. It's funny. So he got Willis Reed's autographs, and Willis was like, "Hey guys, what's going on?" We talked to him for a couple of minutes, so that was pretty cool. So, out of all the autograph stuff, that's the cool story, but. The best story is my wife's story, and it's not even a sports autograph. My wife was at a restaurant in Secaucus, New Jersey, and you know, even I'm sure Felix, you know about Secaucus, New Jersey. Yeah. At this little restaurant, just a restaurant somewhere, and it was like four of the tables, you know, and all of a sudden this table of 5 people come walking in and get seated in the corner, and my wife's like, "Is that who I think it is?" The waiter comes over, he goes. My wife goes, "Is that who I think it is?" He goes, "Yeah, it's Ringo Starr." My wife has a personalized Ringo Starr autograph. It says, "To Paula, love Ringo," and it has the star in it. We have it framed in the house, and
that's
I've never seen that.
Yeah, I can't believe next time you come over, Drew, I'll show you.
What's it on?
It's just in a frame. It's on a napkin. It's on a bar napkin.
Oh my god!
When you were saying that story, I thought you were going Seinfeld on me.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, you know, it kind of goes that way. I could see that.
I was thinking Friends. When you said 5 friends walked in, I was like, "Oh,
no, it was Ringo and his manager, or whatever, blah blah blah." Yeah, this was in 96, 97 when we first started dating. Yeah,
it's interesting. Like that. I feel maybe it's because I'm older, but I feel like the selfie has replaced the autograph.
Yes,
for all generations.
Yes, no doubt. Everyone wants to take a picture with somebody. You know, I've never been a big autograph guy. I've always been like meeting people. Like I once met Adam Sandler at the Cheesecake Factory here in Boca Raton. It was like crazy. He was getting cheesecake. The waiter's like, "Hey, Adam Sandler's getting cheesecake. You want to say hello?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I went up and just was BSing with Adam for about 10 minutes. I was like, he's like, "All right, I got my food." I'm like, "All right, man, have fun."
Was that when it was in business for about 10 days?
No, this was years ago. This is when 8 Crazy Nights came out. That's how long ago it was. So, you know, that kind of thing.
Wow.
All right, we got.
Oh, go ahead.
So we got a couple minutes left. I want to cover one more thing. I do want to talk about the San Diego no-hitter. This is the first in San Diego's historic franchise. Finally, all 30 teams have a no-hitter. Joe Musgrave originally was a Pittsburgh. Now he's a San Diego native. So, but what does it say, like, when a no-hitter happens, like, in the first week and a half of the season? Like, you know, I'll start with you, Felix. What does that say about, you know, the pitching, the sad? Does it show something, or is it just like a freak thing? It just happened.
Yeah, it just happens. Because you think about it, you got to get, 27 outs? It's, maybe the other team wasn't on on par. They weren't ready for the game, but I'm glad he got it. Everyone has it now. Like the Padres have struggled since I've been watching baseball.
Right.
But I'm glad he got it. I mean, it's pretty remarkable. Out of all the years he got it in San Diego. Think about every team who had a no hitter, and this is the one guy that got it. Who, I mean, good for them. But I just think, sort of like poker, you got to get lucky.
Right. Exactly.
You also see now more than ever, you're not even seeing pitchers throwing complete games anymore. I mean, the star pitchers, they're going 5 or 6 innings. Even if there's guys who've been taken out with one hitters or even no hitters. I think it happened a couple weeks ago. It might have been Minnesota, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, it was Minnesota.
Had a no hitter going through 5, and they pulled him.
Yeah,
a couple years ago, Aaron Nola was going. Had a complete game going with like 80 pitches against the Braves, and Gabe Kapler, the old manager, pulled him for no reason, and we lost the game because of our lovely bullpen.
Yes. Well, Gabe Kapler was. Yeah, we won't talk about Gabe Kapler.
Do all of you guys do fantasy baseball? Is that a safe assumption?
I used to. I don't do it anymore.
I don't do it anymore.
Right?
What's up?
Are you doing fantasy baseball?
No, I used to, but I haven't had a chance this year because my mom passed away in February. I've been taking care of her stuff. And stuff like that.
Sorry to hear that. So just from experience over the last couple of seasons, I just do it for fun. I don't do it for money. I do it with a random league, but it's the starting pitcher position almost doesn't even matter. These guys go out 4 or 5 innings.
Yeah.
And then the bullpen comes in and they'll either get you your ERA or they'll kill your ERA.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
This no hitter, this no hitter thing for him. He pitched 112 pitches in that game, and that's unheard of these days. Most times you don't allow a pitcher to go over 100 pitches anymore.
That's true.
Yeah, but
when he came into the 9th inning, he was at 103. He only had to pitch 9 more pitches in that 9th inning to get the complete game. And I mean, you talking about it, the Padres were established in 1969. It took them 52 years to get a no hitter.
Yeah. No, at that point, 103 pitches, you got to leave him in the 9th. There's no way you can pull him.
Good for the manager to stick with it, to be aware of what's going on and to be aware of the moment that could come. And, a lot of managers these days would have pulled him an inning or 2 earlier, if not more.
Well, they had the game in hand.
It was 3-0.
It was a 3-0 victory.
3-0 game, and he pitched. He retired. The first 11 batters. The only thing he miscued in the whole game was he hit a batter.
Yeah,
that was the only runner that he had on the whole entire game because he hit 1 batter.
So it would have been a perfect. I'm not aware of this, but it would have been a perfect game.
It would have been
hit the batter. Yeah,
he hit the batter. It would have been a perfect game.
Wow.
I mean, and they were playing Texas, and Texas sucks anyway. So it's kind of
To go to your thing. This is what he quoted after the game. This is what he told an ESPN reporter. The pitching coach came out and asked him, "Does he want? I'm going back, and the manager's going to come out here and pull you." His exact words he said was, "I was locked in, no intention of coming out of that game." That manager would have came out, he would not have left that game because he was locked in. He told him, he said, "I was just so locked in, I had no intention to come out of that game." So when the pitching coach came out and said, you got to do it within 11 pitches. After 11 pitches, they come in and pull you. He did it in 9.
Nice. That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, real quick. We got a couple minutes left. Just give me like your biggest no hitter memory. If what no hitter like kind of stands out to you the most when watching baseball. I know where Felix is going to go, so I'm going to start with Andrew first.
I just remember the Yankees of the late 90s. I can't pick one, but I just remember David Cone, Dwight Gooden, David Wells, mixing the perfect games that happened in there. It was just like they almost had one like every single year, it seemed like, growing up in the late 90s. And those stick out in my head for sure. It's just like another one, so those definitely stick out to me.
Yeah, they had like one every year for a couple of years.
Yeah, but between Cone, Gooden, and Wells, there was always one.
Exactly. All right, Ray, what about you?
Nolan Ryan, 1990 against Oakland Athletics. 43-year-old, the oldest pitcher to ever throw a no-hitter.
Yes. All right. I know where Felix is going to go, but I want to hear it anyway.
So I was at a local establishment. I was about 10 beers in. And
why does that not surprise me?
And once the 6th inning hit, I'm like, wow, it's actually happening. And Chooch caught a great game. Oh man, he's an underrated catcher. Oh my God. And that last pitch, Roy pitch, and he got the out. Oh, it was like we won again. We won.
Right.
It felt like we won the World Series again.
Yeah, that playoff no-hitter was amazing that he pitched. That was an incredible game. There's a couple that stand out for me, but the biggest one to me was when Jim Abbott pitched a no-hitter. I mean, you got a guy, with one hand pitching a no-hitter. I mean, that's crazy to think about. It's like
another Yankee of the 90s.
Yeah, exactly. The way he pitched was like incredible to watch. And just the fact that he threw a no-hitter was like, oh, amazing. Just to me, like out of all the no-hitters I've seen either on tape, I've never seen one. I've never seen one live, and that's the one thing I haven't seen is one live. But seeing all the on TV and all that stuff was definitely Jim Abbott stands out for me. Cool.
Have you ever paid attention not just on his release, but how he would after catch a ball, how he would get the ball out of his glove into his hand and then throw it over to first base if need be, if it was a comebacker.
His technique was amazing. Absolutely amazing. The fact that he was able to play Major League Baseball was incredible. Definitely a cool thing.
I think he has a couple career hits too, actually.
That's interesting. I never
think
knew that.
Through some interleague play towards the end of his career, he had to go up to bat, and he might have a couple. I'm just going off the top of my head right now, but I'm pretty sure
they let that happen.
He was throwing a good game.
I mean, you gotta. I guess so, but I mean.
Yeah, sometimes I swing one-handed. All right, we got to go, guys. Unfortunately, we got to cut it short tonight. But next week, everyone, we will talk about this 25th anniversary of the 1996 NBA draft, considered the greatest draft in NBA history with all the stars and all famers that have come out of it. But we'll talk all about that next week. So thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Everyone, stay tuned. We got lots of stuff coming up on the network all week, and we will see you next week. We are out. Peace.